Okay, this talk is going to be mostly kind of a demo, live coding and whatnot. But we're going to try and do this. Hopefully, nothing breaks. The demo gods are happy. And I'm going to talk about how to build an app that devs and designers love with Next.js in Builder. So who am I? I'm Yoav. I'm a father, web developer. I podcast at my podcast FedBites. I'm also a DevRel DX at Builder.io. And like Dean, I wasn't sure what icon to put down there. So you got Twitter and Threads, but X as well, whatever. So the big problem that front-end developers or developers and designer kind of share is there is a communication challenge, right? How many times have you heard, like, maybe move that 5 pixels to the left, 10 pixels to the right, change the color, all of those. So let's look at some examples of this, right? How many times have you heard, like, the designer says, this isn't centered. You look at it, and then the developer looks at it, and of course, looks fine to him, right? And the designer always comes with like crazy stuff that he wants to do, like crazy animations or whatnot, and let's make this unicorn jump to the left and over there and what. And of course, everybody's been there probably. Designer comes in, what about that wireframe you coded up? Is it coded up yet? It's been a while, and the developer is, of course, he finished it, but the end result, it's like this. So why like this, right? What is the problem? In the end, kind of developers and designers speak different languages, right? And we kind of need to find a way to bridge the gap and be able to collaborate better. And that is where I think Builder comes in with Next.js. Now, Next.js, I'm not going to expand and explain what it is. Obviously, you're here at the meetup. We've heard a few talks already. So we're going to just kind of explain a little bit what Builder is, and then I'm going to show you how we connect it. So Builder.io in a nutshell is drag and drop headless CMS. What does it mean? It's an API-driven CMS. You can bring your components that you write in your code into the visual editor and kind of have a drag and drop interface there. You can use any tech stack, so this works with Next.js, but this also works with Nuxt, SvelteKit, Quick, whatever. This will bring you fewer tickets, cleaner code, and will give you more time to work on the stuff you like to do. So let's just do it. Let's see it in action, all right? So I'm just going to move over, and we're going to go to the terminal. We're going to start a new Next.js app. Okay, we're going to run npx create next app. We're going to call it test. We're going to use pnpm. I'm going to let this run. Hopefully, this works. I'm going to use TypeScript, whatever, ESLint. This is going to run a Next.js 13.4 with the app router. We're going to not use the source directory, but use the app router. Whatever, let it install the dependencies. Hopefully, this works well because I chose pnpm, and this has all the stuff cached. But again, the internet here is pretty good. No good? Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Run, run, run. Always demigods against us. And it's going to resolve. Everything is reused. It's not downloading anything, but it's still not working very fast. Cool. Come on. Come on. Maybe you need some clapping for it to get running. Come on, come on. Bring it up. And it resolved. See, just a little bit clapping in it. It's done. Great. So we have a Next.js app. Now let's just cd into our test app. We called it test. Cool. And in order to get, yes, come on. In order to get Next.js integrated with Builder.io, we can run a very simple command and do npm init builder.io at latest. This is also going to install some dependencies. And we're going to, of course, confirm we want to install the dependencies. This will update our Next.js config. And we've already seen a few like Next.js plugins. This is also kind of a Webpack plugin that wraps around Next.js. And we'll be able to see it, but let's let it do its thing. Now, all we have to do is run our app. We're going to run pnpm dev. This is going to start our localhost. Go to our browser. Go to localhost. Refresh. And what is that? That is not the regular Next.js startup page. So What's happening here is the Builder DevTools plugin is actually overriding what's happening in Next.js. It's giving us an overlay, and it's just basically a wizard to help us integrate Builder and Next, okay? So just to get started, we're going to click the button. This is going to take us into Builder.io's UI. Now, because I already have, obviously, an account, this is going to just ask where I want to kind of start this. So in Builder.io, you have spaces. The space is basically just a working space that you can have. For each project, you have a different space, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, if you don't have an account, this is going to take you to the login and just signing up and all those. So we're going to authorize a space. I have a space Next.js.il. I'm going to authorize it. And I'm going to wait for the confetti. We got a confetti, yes. Now, what has happened by the DevTools is it created a few files for us, as we can see here. I'm not going to open them unless there are some questions later on and we want to show it, but just go with the flow here, all right? So now we can go to our app. And we have a page in our app. If you can see, it's localhost 3000 on route builder demo. And this is already content that we're getting from Builder.io. And as you can see, we can hover over like the different components. And we can actually go and open it in Builder. Now, this will take us to Builder UI, where we have our app running. Again, this is localhost 3000. But we have all the components here. And then we can have like a UI that shows us everything. Now, think about this, right? Designer wants to add something. You're like, all right, just go and do it. He just wants to add some text that says, hello, world. He wants to style it a little bit. Maybe he wants to do it 100 pixels. Voila. He finished the change. He can publish it. We can go back to our app. Now, because of Next.js 13 and their really heavy caching, we kind of got to do a hard refresh here and clear some cookies. And after a few refreshes, we're going to get like the non-cached version, which will get me the public stuff. All right, and we have it. That's it. All we did was edit stuff in the UI, and we got it into our app. Isn't that cool? Other than that, something I mentioned is you could register your custom components. Now, Builder DevTools, which is a project that we kind of just launched, it's in beta, is this little jar here on the side, which lets you see what components you have in your code base that you might want to register. So we have a counter. You see this counter, which is a React component. And we can even go and see the component itself in terms of the code. Let's say we want to open the counter just to see. And is the code big enough? Can you see it? Yeah? Right? Just a simple React component inside the Next.js application, right? You got a counter, you got to use state, a count, a set count, an increment function, a decrement function. When you click the button, it goes. Now the cool part. So we see, you already see it inside the jar, but we can also change its name. Just call it my counter. And we already have the inputs here. And if we go back into the Builder UI, you can see here on the side, we can see our component. We have the counter. We can just drag and drop it in here. We don't like this color. We can just go inside. Now, this uses specifically CSS modules, so we can go into our module file. We don't like the color. Let's just change it. Save it. Save it. Without that. And refresh this. That was supposed to happen with hot module reloading, but for some reason it didn't. We forgot to publish our changes. Oh, we lost. But voila, we just changed it. And we have a component that we control from our code, but a designer can also use it. But not only that, he can kind of play around with it, right? He can put it on whatever side he wants. He can just move it around and done. Now, if we want to add any other component, all we have to do is just write code. And now I'm not in the right folder, right? So all he has to do is go inside your components directory, write a new component, and then use Builder's UI right? And do you want to test, kind of see how to write a new component? Do you want me to write, do you want to write something together, or do we want to just have something that's pre-made? What do we say? Huh? Pre-made. Pre-made, yes, all right. Cool, so just gonna go to one of my backup projects here. I'm gonna take a new page, all right? I have a completely new page called products. I'm gonna copy it over to our other test one. We're gonna put it inside of here. So what I did is created a new route, a new page route that has, hold on, let me get this away. So we have a new page, all right? But this is also something special. So Builder, besides being a drag and drop and visual editor, is also a headless CMS. Like I mentioned in start, maybe you don't remember. So right here, we're not only have another component, another page, we're actually querying the data from Builder to get our data. And now, if we save this, now just I want to show you, before we go into that inside Builder, we have this model section, which actually has all of our data structures. So we have our page, which we just saw now, right, which had all the UI in it. And I've created a model that's called product. And in that product, in terms of content, what we have is just 3 products. I was very original and did a mouse, a cat, and a dog. Each of them have a name, a price, and a description. You can see we're getting that over here. I've kind of typed out what we have out of it, and we're getting. So we can have that. And now let's go back to our app, go to our route. So we made a new products route. And that product route is going to get data from Builder, Visual CMS, inside to here. So we get our mouse, our cat, and our dog. But what else? We also have the unregistered component, which because I put it in a page, it's not recognizing it, of course. Good job, Yoav. So just to kind of show you how we could use that, we're going to create a new file, right? So we're going to do an underscore components, and we're going to do the product in here. Just going to copy that out. All right, going to take the product and just move that into here. We got to export that. We're going to export this. We're going to import it from here. And we got our product list. We got our product from inside components. Cool. Go back. And we have an unregistered component of product. We could just take this, flip the switch, and voila. We have this. We go back into Build Your UI. Go back to our page. Now remember, we have the content for the page and our structured data. Let's go back to the page, to our demo. And voila, we have all the stuff here. And now I have a product here. And I can even bring it inside. And then I have all the stuff I need here to kind of just fill in some stuff. So I am a product, right? We can just take an image. I don't know, random image. Of course, always the image you get. You can copy this image address, right? Put an image, put a name, crazy dog, right? At a price. Voila, we have our product inside as well. And we registered it from that way. Right, so we saw it in action. But besides that, you can also do A/B testing inside of Builder.io, so you could have different kind of things. So you can have specific sessions that you can personalize, do A/B tests on. You have localization built in. It works with any tech stack, like I mentioned. Doesn't matter if it's Next.js, SvelteKit, Remix, Quick, whatever. It is performance-oriented. Everything is rendered and fully optimized to run the best it can on your tech stack. You also have insights about your content and what you could do. You could do UI sections. So for example, like a hero section that changes according to different campaign for a different sale you have. Again, it's a headless CMS. You can create the landing pages like we saw. And you can connect to any other data source. So you can connect this to a backend or another CMS or whatever you want to. And of course, it has a robust ways of roles and permission and authentication, SSO, and all the stuff, the fun stuff that Asaf talked about. And that's it. Thank you. Go build. And happy to take any questions if there are any. One over there, right. OK, so the question is, if you have some sort of conditional inside your component, right, what would happen? It doesn't matter. If it's inside your component and the logic is encapsulated within that component, that's what's going to run. Like exactly that logic. It's your code. No, it will not change the variable itself. Again, it has the ability to kind of receive props, right, like any other React component or whatever. It's a Svelte component or whatnot. You can create components or symbols within Builder, so you can compose things that you want that will create like HTML for you down the wire in the end. But you could also add like logic within Builder. So you have also state inside Builder, so it's based on React, and you can just write kind of code. It's a little bit clunkier than actually writing it in code and registering your component, but you could do that. It's very flexible. Another question.
Controls the code.
Builder.
When I'm changing the code, does it go back and changes my Builder app?
Yes. Again, Builder is just, it's kind of a way to manage your UI over API. It's a layer in between. Okay? It's a layer between your data and your front end. And when you render it, so if you want to go kind of see what actually happens. So inside our page that renders a landing page, so kind of better understand. What we're doing is we're getting the content from Builder, right, according to our path. And this is just a promise that then renders a component called a Builder component. Now this specifically, because of Next 13 and the way it works, has to be a client component. And again, when you say client component within Next.js, that doesn't mean that it only renders on the client. It means it gets server-side rendered and gets hydrated on the client, right? So all it is just a function that renders in just to kind of handle the way that Builder works and allow you to see what you're actually editing within the editor. It has a preview kind of section, and only if you have the content or you're in a previewing state, you're going to get the Builder component. Otherwise, you're going to be falling back to a 404 page. That is the default for Next. Did that answer your question? Cool. Any other questions? All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming. Our second Next.js IL meetup. Thank you to Dscope, Meir, Asaf. Thank you to Dean. And yeah, feel free to contact. We have an active Facebook group. We're on Discord. We're on Twitter. We're on Threads. We're on X, whatever you want. So thank you again, and have a great night. Bye-bye.